I'm going to show you why today it is more important than ever to have a real estate agent in your corner, whether you are a buyer or a seller, because the market is just a very interesting place to deal with right now. Interest rates are at a 23-year high. Home prices here in Spokane are still hitting record highs, and we need to know how to navigate this market as a buyer and a seller. Buyers' affordability is a massive issue. Sellers, you deal with the same thing because you need to buy, but also it's taking way longer to sell your home and you're leaving money on the table by not preparing. So let's talk about all the details, tell you how to prepare for this market so that you can be the most successful for your situation. Let's get into the video. Hey there, I'm Haydn Halsted, your local real estate resource here in Spokane, Washington. And man, yeah, it is a doozy out there for a lot of people, but everything just comes down to preparation, timing, and patience. So we're going to jump in. It's the beginning of October right now, so we can look at some of our September numbers, see how things are shaping up. And so first thing we'll look at is pricing right now. We're going to look at our monthly view really quick. So prices did come down in September, so we're kind of starting that seasonal slope. So we didn't actually go up any higher than 435 this year. And so heading into quarter four, starting now and it's October, we're going to probably see prices continue to go down a little bit here in the wintertime before we probably see any increases going into the spring. But today I really want to dig into a month's supply of inventory. So this is a metric that's hard to Google, but it really is telling of the market and where we stand right now. So currently we're at 2.7 months of inventory. Generally, this is a measurement of, are we in a buyer's market or are we in a seller's market? There's a lot of people saying it is still a seller's market. There's a lot of people saying that it's transferred into a buyer's market. And this technically, by definition, we are still in a seller's market. This blue line all the way up here is when it transfers into a buyer's market. When buyers have control, sellers are in duress, selling desperately, needing to do anything to get the house out of their name. And so we are still in a less than 3 months, so seller's market. But what this has done is increased quite rapidly since pandemic levels of 2 weeks. And so 2.7 months to a lot of us feels like 8 months. It feels like we are going at a snail's pace because things are so slow out there when it comes to putting a house on the market and it taking maybe a couple months at a time to get even an offer, or having one showing every single week on or less on some of these listings. And so this is where it comes into planning ahead for many of you, because it's going to maybe take more time than you expect. And so we derive that month's supply of inventory from taking the amount of pending listings and dividing it by the number of new listings or active listings on the market. And that determines how fast or how long it would take for all of the houses currently sitting on the market to sell. So right now, if no new homes came on the market, it would take approximately 2.7 months for all of them to leave the market. And so let's take a look at the number of new listings that we're seeing right now. Year to date, 2023, we're at 7,500 new listings. This time, same year to date, but last year, 2022, we were at 8,400. So we're 900 houses, new listings, less than we were this time last year. Now, if we jump over to pending sales, the number of homes that accepted a contract year to date from January to October 2023, we're just shy of 4,928. 2022, 5,929. So we have put 1,000 less homes under contract, so kind of following that same trend. And then the final thing I want to look at is the number of closed sales year to date. Not final, but before I show you something, just to kind of gauge where the market is at. But so far, we have closed 4,669 homes this year, and in 2022, 5,883. So we are closed about 1,200 less homes than last year. So if we look back at 2022, there was that 8,407 new listings that hit the market. And in that same period, 5,929 of them had gone pending. And so that was 71% of homes were getting an offer, or had accepted an offer that had been listed in 2022. In 2023, what does that look like? We had 7,500 new listings hit the market and 4,900 have gone pending, which means that 65% of homes are accepting an offer. So we've dropped about 6% on the number of homes that are accepting an offer. So even though there's about 1,000 less homes hitting the market, we're putting less deals together with that low inventory, a low amount of sellers and a lower amount of buyers. And that's causing more stress on the sellers that are putting up their houses on the market. These numbers project that there's no listings out there, and that if I put my home on the market, then it's going to sell really quickly for top dollar and I should still get multiple offers. But That's just not the case anymore because there's so few buyers looking right now because affordability is such an issue, specifically for people that are local to Spokane. The other thing to look at if you're a seller, but something to take advantage of if you're a buyer right now, is the fallout rate. In 2022, we had about 5,800 closed year to date and 5,900 pending year to date, meaning that there was a 1% fallout. Of the number of homes that accepted an offer, 1% of them, that those pending deals either hadn't closed or possibly fell out and that home went back on the market. But here today in 2023, we're seeing a 5 to 6% fallout rate. So we're seeing quite a bit more deals falling apart, going back on the market, or not making it to the closing table. And then what's even more interesting, if we look over here on my market monitor, we'll probably zoom this in, but 691 homes had a price change. So there's about 1,300 homes active on the market right now, residential and condo, and almost half of them have had a price change of some sort. There were 100 that came back on the market, so we're looking at about 9% of properties going back on the market, and 262 expired. And now, one more thing to make note, whether you are a seller or a buyer, is the amount of unsold listings. And so currently in 2023, year to date, we've had 1,941 homes go unsold. Now, many of these houses go back on the market immediately. Some agents will only sign a 30-day contract and then just renew the contract over and over again to keep that listing at the top of the MLS and to show up as a new listing on Zillow. But in 2022, we saw 1,432 unsold listings year to date. And so this is making up today, 26% of homes are going unsold within their first contract period, at least their first contract period with their agent. And last year it was 17%. So you're going from 1 in 5 homes last year to 1 in 4 homes this year. So you're getting even more likely that your house is not going to sell in the amount of time that your agent promised that they would sell it, or within the contract period that they originally determined with you. So now one more data point is days on market. And so I love using this little system here that I pull up on a lot of my videos because it pulls a lot of good information, but sometimes I double check it because I have a question about something every once in a while. And so looking at median days on market here, it's saying, not year to date, we want by month. Let's go to September. Let's see what we're doing right now. 15 days on market, and actually went down from 16 days on market. Now, for 2.7 months of inventory, it's like, and just where I have a feeling of where the market is, just watching it and checking on houses every single day, seems pretty quick. I was like 2 weeks for showings. I was in my realtor Facebook group this morning, all the realtors here in Spokane, and people are asking questions like, hey, are your listings that are 300,000 and below, are they selling? And so many people in there were saying they've been absolutely dead for 300,000. And so we're going to break this out into a price distribution so we can see what the average days on market is for different prices. So we're seeing pretty average 13, 14 days for anywhere between 100 and 400,000. That 400 to 500,000 mark goes up by a whole week, which I have definitely noticed. And I think it's because of more competition and or more inventory with new construction. Like if we broke this out to by construction, let's see what happens. New construction homes take way longer to sell, 300 to 400. That's very interesting because it's an affordable price point, but 66 days. And then it's just taking slightly longer for the new stuff to sell in the $400,000 price range. But because this is the median, this is where the most number of houses are listed, you're having more competition. So if your house is in that price range, you are in the most amount of competition with any other homeowner in Spokane. And so that's why it's going to take a little bit longer than some of these non-median price points. And then of course, the higher and the more expensive you go, the obviously the longer it's going to take that property to sell. But I still felt like this was pretty fast. And so I just kind of went over to our MLS here, kind of broke it out to see what's the average days on market for the active listings, the pending listings, and the sold listings. Where are these coming out to be? So we're looking at homes and condos in the county of Spokane. And so let's look at solds first. So let's remove active, go to sold. Okay, last month, that should work. And now we're going to run the search. And so we can see for sold listings, the average was 25, the median was 14 days. So right in line with what the data was showing on that other end. That's probably where they pull it from, is the sold listings. Let's look at pending listings. How long is it taking the current pending listings to accept an offer on their home? So 650, it says, from what I have searched. 28 on average, 15 median. Cool. We're still in that ballpark of what they said. Let's look at the active. And so looking at the number of active homes, currently the average is 49 and the median is 29. So it almost doubles when you're looking at what is on the market currently. And so there's a big separation between the homes that are sitting on the market, having price drops, because like we said, over half of these homes that are currently listed have had a price drop. And then the homes that are pricing appropriately or have maybe already been on the market for a little bit, but there's a 2-week period there, differentiation between the homes that are selling or going pending and the homes that are sitting active on the market. So as buyers, if you're seeing anything go over that 2-week time period, even 30 days, that's longer than the average. And so you need to know that looking at that, is there something wrong with the house specifically? Is the pricing wrong? Do we have wiggle room in that price that we can maybe submit a lower offer or ask for more incentives, things like that? And sellers, this is what's going through the buyer's mind. And so if you cross that 2-week threshold, then you really need to make some changes quickly rather than just hoping and waiting that something will happen in the future. It's really good and really important to be active immediately with these types of things. If your realtor is doing that initial open house launch on that first weekend, holding 2-3 open houses in that very first weekend, and you get really slow traffic through the door, you need to take that as a sign that we need to take action and do something immediately versus waiting for hopefully more buyers to enter the market down the road, because your listing is going to get stale. That's what I call it. It has a stale, bad taste in people's mouths, but in a lot of buyers' minds, so many other listings coming on the market, they completely forget about yours. So you have to be really conscious to do things quickly and make quick decisions in order to keep your listing relevant. And so if I even jump into CNBC, you can tell that all over the country, this is totally different. If you're moving here to Spokane, your market might be totally different. San Jose real estate is a strong seller's market, it says, but Zillow says the market is frozen. Dallas is supposedly a buyer's market. And so do your due diligence where you live, talk to your local real estate experts in your area. But here in Spokane, we've had quite a pullback, and the CEO or co-founder of Zillow is the most accurate depiction of what's going on here in Spokane. It's kind of just at a standstill. It's very low. The biggest people it is affecting is the realtor members. And so it is really important that you are hiring a realtor that is still finding ways to do business in this market. There's a lot of agents that are on their way out right now, whether they know it or not, because it's going to be an unsustainable market for them right now. And so make sure you're interviewing the person that is actively in the business. There's a lot of people that want to be in the business. They don't know how to do it. They don't have their finger on the pulse because they're not actively doing deals, having those real estate conversations. And so just a couple things to look out for if you're buying, and here soon, I've been a big proponent of checking out new construction. I have a buyer coming into town this next weekend because we're going to go look at some, because Lennar is offering huge incentives right now, pulling this up, but they have a 5.224 APR, 4.9 interest rate, and so, or up to $30,000 towards your closing costs. But DR Horton as well, one of the major builders here in Spokane, their red tag sale is starting next weekend, and so I will make another video about that on what is for sale. And then lastly, things like this do not help the stalemate here in Spokane. We are currently 25,000 housing units short, but because our city is having trouble having conversation about how to handle our need for growth, really, I should say, they freak out, they close things down, and they say, give us time to think about it. And they take 6 to 8 months to talk before letting builders continue to build. And so the Latah Valley is potentially going through another building moratorium. I don't disagree with why they want to build it or why they want a moratorium, because about 236 housing units are planned to be built here in a very short amount of time between Summit at Grandview, the Summit, West Bluff Heights, Tangle Ridge, Crystal Ridge, and the Greens at Meadow Lane. And all of them are going to funnel into one small side street that then is a really scary left turn onto Highway 195. And so we have to find out, there has to be some massive infrastructure change but I don't get why we can't just move construction forward while we work together on these things. It's going to make builders really skittish about building in certain areas around Spokane if we keep regulating them and causing trouble. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you made it this far, I'd love to hear where you're watching from. What questions do you have about the real estate housing market that I can answer and make a video on? Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.